Hello and welcome to today's how-to video for parents. I am Karen Locke-Culp. I am the creator of the website, podcast, and other resources at WeTurnedOutOK.com. Video for parents. I am Karen Locke-Culp. And I'm hearing myself, so give me a sec. Podcast and the resources. Ooh, I've never had this happen before. Video for parents. I am Karen Locke-Culp. And I'm hearing myself, so okay, there we go. Now I'm not hearing myself. And I'm still recording. Good. Sorry about that. It's been a crazy morning here. I feel all off schedule and in a kerfuffle, but that's okay. I can still get you the kind of help that you need when you are facing a child who has done something bad, who's done something wrong, who has, I don't know, maybe hit somebody or exploded into a massive temper tantrum in the worst possible location or time, or dropped the milk, or made you late, or any number of other kind of infractions that kids can do. And I want to give you three ways to think about this, three sort of, I guess, think of them as steps to moving out of the bad behavior. And it all started because I think so many parents are, I got on this idea because a lot of parents have the viewpoint that, well, if they do something wrong, I need to teach them a lesson. I need to give them sort of an extra punishment or a disciplinary measure, because otherwise, how will they ever learn? And all of my experience, I've got a master's degree in early childhood education. I've got a bachelor's in human development and family relations. I've got nearly a decade's experience teaching in a preschool program and also raising my own kids. And all of that experience has really taught me that experience is the best teacher. And to be honest, that's one of the three ways that I want to tell you about, to help you get good behavior, to get out of the bad behavior stuff and get into good behavior. So letting experience be the best teacher, or letting experience be the teacher, works in a lot of situations. I want to just first caution you, there's a couple situations where it doesn't work. A life-threatening experience is not going to be one that will work because, for obvious reasons, your child won't live through it. So if they're running out into the street, we would never say to ourselves, okay, I'm just going to let this play out and see how, see what happens, see if they learn their lesson. Of course. So within age-appropriate and situational circumstances, within age-appropriate and situational circumstances, we can let experience be the best teacher. So, for example, if they spill milk, if they break a glass, if it shatters on the floor and you are now going to be late for an appointment that you were rushing to get out the door from anyway, and it might be our instinct to turn around and shout at them, why did you do that? You're in so much trouble. You might spank them out of your own anger. I mean, because you're feeling so upset and how this has derailed, your day and your life. And I completely sympathize. I have been there. I mean, there are times where you just want to scream because your kids have done something that just you can't, you just can't take. So, but in those instances, the best thing that we can do is we can take a deep breath and we can let experience be the best consequence. So you can say to your child, okay, go run and grab a towel and help me clean this up. Or you can say, stand back, there's a bunch of glass, and glass, will hurt us. So I'm gonna start picking up all this glass, and I need you to run and get the mop. And believe me, it's enough of a jarring experience when something breaks or shatters or spills that they don't need our extra anger, and frustration put on them. What works best is if we become a team with them and we say to them, I'm here to support you. Let's take care of each other and solve this problem together. Even the youngest kids, even pre-verbal kids, know the difference between those two feelings. I'm included, I'm safe, I'm getting help, I'm getting the support that I need, and in turn, I can help too. I can help clean up my mess, versus I'm a bad kid because I did this, and now I'm getting punished for it. That doesn't make a child feel safe, and that's really what we want. Is we want them to feel safe and supported. And so that is the first part of getting good behavior from our kids is to help them learn through experience, again, in an age appropriate and circumstance appropriate way. And the second way, which actually I originally thought of this as the first way, but the second way is to recognize that they don't do what they do out of malice. I send a newsletter, a weekly parenting newsletter out to my email group every Wednesday. And you can get to that by going to WeTurnedOutOK.com and signing up for a free guide. I've got one about how to handle every temper tantrum, and I've got one about potty training. And that when you sign up for those guides, they automatically arrive in your inbox, and so does the weekly parenting newsletter. And this past week's felt like a really special one to me, because I was able to share about how a coaching client of mine has resolved a huge problem. She was having a big problem. Her son was struggling in his daycare setting because he kept getting in trouble, quote unquote, for all these little infractions that are expected behavior on the part of 3-year-olds. There was no reason for him to be getting in trouble for playing in the water in the sink. They weren't providing him an outlet for that, need for wanting to play in water. There's definitely ways around that so that you don't have kids sneaking off to the bathroom and getting in trouble for playing in water, right? If they're active and they have the need to be out and about, making it so that 40 degrees or above isn't the only time they can get outside in winter is really, really important. And that's one of the things that this childcare setting, that's one of their rules, is we don't go outside if it's below 40 degrees, which is just so insane. And I loved being able to share that this mom had a real mindset shift. She had been accepting the idea, oh, my son is a troublemaker. My son has a problem. My son is doing all these things. And in working together, I was able to help her understand that her son is doing the best that he can. It is not his fault that he is where he is developmentally. It's the obligation of the people around him to help get him what he needs. And if he needs more outside time or more activity, running around time, if he needs to be allowed to choose where he wants to be in the classroom, if he gets that opportunity to play appropriately in water, in a sand and water table, for example, that's going to go much, much better than if he is getting in trouble for things that are developmentally appropriate, that a developmentally typical 3-year-old child does, and that should be expected. So recognizing what they don't do out of malice, and recognizing that, like, they're doing the best that they can. That's the second part of this, of getting good behavior, because then you're starting from a whole different point, right? You're starting from the idea of, oh, my child, it can be expected that he needs this activity time, that he needs time to run around, that he needs time to work with his hands and scoop sand or play with water or whatever. And if I can get him that time, it's like you don't fault a dog for needing a walk. You just take the dog for a walk. I mean, it's really very, very similar here, except that the consequences of not upholding, a child's requirements can be detrimental, over his or her very long life, and detrimental to our relationship, I think, even more importantly. So that's number 2. And then number 3 is, and this one might feel a little bit funny to you, but talk about your own mistakes. So if your child drops a glass and it shatters on the floor, tell them, oh my gosh, I remember when, if you have a time when you spilled something or whatever, when that happened to me, and help your child understand they're not the only person that these things happen to. They're not the only, they're not alone in their faults or their, perceived faults or their misbehaving. Sometimes we all do things that we maybe regret, that we feel sorry for afterwards. And for them to know that, and to know that you're basically communicating to them, you're a good person. You are an okay, very, very normal, very common to have these problems. And I'm here to help you with them. I think all of that can be communicated in that. So those are the 3 ways that you can get good behavior from your child. It's the 3 ways to think about how you can move past negative consequences and into something that like move past trying to teach a lesson and into something that just works so much better. Learning, helping them learn through experience appropriately, helping them by recognizing that they don't do what they do out of malice, but instead they do it because it's just where they are developmentally. And then talk about your mistakes, like come up with a similar time in your life where you've made a mistake like that, and help them understand we are part of a continuum here, and we're going to take care of each other. And if you are looking for more on this topic, because this is a fairly short video, I do a long form podcast in which you get to see into the mind of me, a child development expert, and really understand thoroughly what's going on in your own child's head, and how you can help them develop better, but also be a happier kid, and as a result have a happier family, because you don't have the kind of bad behavior that's so frustrating, right? So I called this podcast episode 4 Ways Kids Are Not Like Submarines, because there's this idea of zero tolerance in submarines, and zero tolerance does not work for children. It works for submarines really great, though. And that is episode 266 of We Turned Out Okay. You can click the link just below this video right in these show notes, or you can go to weturnedoutokay.com/266 and check it out. And I've basically reached the end of today's lesson. I really, really hope that you get something out of this. If you just hit the like button, that would be very, very helpful. If you would share this video with a friend, if you've got a friend who is also in that frustrating time of parenting and you just want them to, get some help, or sharing it into a parenting group that you belong to, that would be much, much appreciated. The more people who hear this message, I think the more happy families we're going to have. So thank you very much for doing that. And finally, subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you never miss an episode. I do these every Thursday, and you'll get notification when I go live, and then you'll be able to come back and check. If you couldn't be there live, you'll be able to come back and see it later. And these are going to be out there for posterity. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week for another YouTube video. And again, thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. Bye-bye.